Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Thomas. You're watching an ABC10 Plus recap of stories you may have missed. We're hearing from one of the families of a 17-year-old girl who was killed in a hit and run in West Sacramento. Then community leaders celebrate new youth-built EV chargers in South Sacramento. The ABC10 Plus recap starts now. I do want to turn now to a tragic death of two teen girls killed in a hit and run. It happened in West Sacramento over the weekend, and tonight, ABC10's Roxanne Elias is talking to the family.
The family of Layla Krissa Clemens say she and her girlfriend were traveling home on a bicycle after visiting her uncle when they were hit and killed by a driver who fled the scene. They're now demanding answers and some major changes to this road.
It's still not real. You know, we just talked to her that night.
Stephanie Vallejo says she can still hear her granddaughter's voice. She says the family began to worry Saturday night when 17-year-old Layla Clemens and 17-year-old Jaya Chapman hadn't returned home. That same night, around 9, West Sacramento police officers responded to a crash on Jefferson Boulevard and Beaven Road. They found both teens who were pronounced dead at the scene. On Sunday, the family gathered for an emotional vigil at Clemens' mother's home.
My daughter won't get to see her get married. She won't get to see her graduate high school or college.
The day after the crash, police arrested 71-year-old David Allison Walker of Fair Oaks. Vallejo says he has robbed both girls of their dreams.
She wanted to be a nurse because she loves helping people.
She also hopes this is the last incident that happens on this road. The grandmother says they're in talks with the mayor of West Sacramento to see if lights, a sidewalk, and bike lanes can be added.
We want that road to be fixed because this is just unnecessary. It was senseless.
We reached out to the city of West Sacramento. The spokesperson sent us this statement, which says in part, the city has both short and long-term plans in place to bring safety improvements to this segment of Jefferson. As part of West Sacramento's Vision Zero initiative, a citywide commitment to eliminating traffic fatalities, comprehensive safety upgrades have been proposed for Jefferson Boulevard and other critical locations. Vallejo says the family is now planning to be at Walker's arraignment on Wednesday.
It can never be satisfying, no matter what he gets. Nothing can change the heartache that we have.
In West Sacramento, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Our thoughts are certainly with that family tonight. The Yolo County DA's office filed a formal complaint just this afternoon. Arraignment is set for tomorrow. Meanwhile, the family does have a GoFundMe to try and help pay for those funeral costs. We have more information on our website, abc10.com.
And tonight, the redistricting fight in Texas continues. The special legislative session in that state was on hold for the second day in a row, with several Democrats sitting out in protest. Now, those Democratic state lawmakers face threats of arrest and fines for leaving their state. They are holding up Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Republican lawmakers who want to redraw Texas congressional maps with the intention of helping Republicans nationally. Democrats argue Republicans are not entitled to more seats in Congress. And this evening, Governor Greg Abbott asked the Texas Supreme Court to remove from office the Texas Democrats who broke quorum during this special session. Those lawmakers are in New York, Boston, and Chicago protesting Governor Abbott's attempt to redraw congressional lines that make it easier for Republicans to win those seats. I want to bring in reporter Jason Whiteley, who has more from us for Chicago.
24 hours now into their quorum break, and Texas Democrats sound decidedly more defiant, directly attacking Texas Republicans.
What is wrong with you, Governor? What is wrong with you? You've had babies to lose their lives. Families are suffering, and you are trying to redistrict Texas?
You already have the governor's office. You're the majority in the Senate, the majority in the House. What more do you want?
Tuesday, Texas Democrats appeared alongside the chair of the Democratic National Committee outside Chicago and the Illinois governor, J.B. Pritzker. Reporters asking Pritzker multiple times, and he would not commit to redistrict Illinois to favor Democrats. But Pritzker also refused to rule it out.
It is possible to redistrict. It's not something that I want to do. It's not something that any of us want to have to do.
We don't want them to have to redistrict. Because as we keep saying, we don't think that that's a right thing to do. It's not right for our democracy. It's not right for the American people. But if you leave us no choice, then we'll have to do as you do.
President Trump worried that Republicans will lose their narrow majority in Congress next year, wants the Texas legislature to redraw congressional districts that would make it easier for Republicans to win. Unable to stop it, House Democrats left the state Sunday, forcing the legislature to a standstill without a quorum present.
We are very, very close, and I think we'll be at a quorum soon.
You think that there are some Democrats still in Texas that DPS might pick up?
I know for sure they are.
How soon would that happen?
It could happen any minute.
Republicans say troopers only need to find 5 Democrats for the legislature to go back to work. But how many, if any, remain in Texas remains unclear.
And California Republican gubernatorial candidate Steve Hilton today spoke against Governor Newsom's redistricting plan. Hilton talking earlier today, he announced legal action to stop Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta from a mid-decade redistricting plan, which he calls a crime against democracy in California.
The crime has been committed against our democracy here in California, because whatever people say about Texas starting this fight over redistricting, here in California, we've had gerrymandered districts for a decade now, despite the intent of the voters to have an independent redistricting process. That's what people want. They took the power away from the legislature.
Meanwhile, California Congressman Kevin Kiley is moving forward with legislation to try and stop the redistricting process, not just in California, but nationwide. Today, he shared an outline of what that legislation looks like. So here's what the bill would do if it would be passed. First, it would ban states from redrawing congressional districts more than once per decade after the U.S. Census. The bill would allow states to redraw lines mid-decade if ordered by a court to comply with the Constitution or Voting Rights Act. It doesn't affect how states run state or local elections or draw those districts. And if passed, the bill would apply to any congressional redistricting after the November 2024 election. And right now on the ABC10 Plus TV streaming app, we have more on the redistricting clash. Just search for redistricting on the home screen. That app is completely free to download straight to your TV. Today, Congressmembers John Garamendi and Doug LaMalfa announced the Transportation Emergency Relief Extension Act, and this extends the obligation deadline for using Federal Highway Administration emergency relief funds from 2 years to 6 years. Now, extending the deadline for using the emergency relief funds would help account for the steps that need to be cleared before spending the money after a natural disaster and allow more flexibility in rebuilding after an emergency. Communities often turn to the emergency relief program to rebuild highways, roads, and bridges after a disaster. And another source of federal dollars available to states is something called community project funding, formerly called earmarks. And it allows members of Congress to request money for local projects right in their district. ABC10's Becca Habegger joins us live in studio right now to show us how the end result of one of these projects really looks like.
Alex, every year, each member of the U.S. House of Representatives can ask the Appropriations Committee to fund up to 15 local projects in their district. Now, these can run the gamut from transportation and infrastructure to agriculture, commerce, and more. Well, today in South Sacramento, we saw what one grant for $500,000 has done for the community.
1, 2, 3.
Community leaders cut the ribbon Tuesday on 2 new electric vehicle charging stations in South Sacramento.
Now they're officially on site and ready to charge this community up.
They say South Sacramento is a bit of a charging station desert. This map from the U.S. Department of Energy shows plenty of options downtown, but in South Sacramento, fewer and farther between. The map already includes the newly unveiled chargers here at South Sacramento Christian Center.
Normally we're holding press conferences for violence and for shootings and for all the different things happening in the community. This one is to charge our community up for the future.
Les Simmons is the pastor here and longtime community activist. He says profits from the chargers will fund neighborhood work.
Our food distribution that continues to feed thousands of people, our youth facility that, runs youth services from basketball or sports recreational programs, violence interruption programs.
The chargers were built using a $500,000 federal grant secured by Representative Doris Matsui through community project funding. funding. A $400,000 grant from the NBA Foundation and other sources brought the total funding to just over $1 million.
We're standing next to our new charge point chargers that Green Tech has installed.
17-year-old Corey Takeuchi helped build the chargers.
We installed these side pieces.
That's because this project is about more than just electric vehicle infrastructure. 36 youth ages 16 to 24 from underserved communities were hired to build these as part of a mentoring and green jobs training program from which they have since graduated.
I plan on pursuing an EV career path because of this fellowship. It has very much piqued my interest.
When we empower youth, we don't just change their lives, we change the trajectory of the entire neighborhoods that they live in.
Dr. Dante Early, president and CEO of United Way California Capital Region, and Chet Hewitt, founder and CEO of the Center at Sierra Health Foundation, say this is an example of federal grant dollars benefiting a community in multiple ways.
This was a youth development project. It introduces them to the future. This was a health project. This was an economic development project. And it was a violence reduction project because 36 kids from across the city actually had something creative to do in the hours when they could have been out engaged in behaviors that aren't. It is a win-win-win-win situation, and we got to thank a lot of partners for making it happen.
Youth in the program were paid $25 per hour plus travel compensation. That wage was based on the United Ways of California real cost measure. That accounts for all expenses someone pays to make ends meet, from food and housing to transportation and health care, based on where in the state they live and the size of their household. Alex.
All right, Becca, thank you for bringing us that story tonight.
New subpoenas have been issued today in the Jeffrey Epstein case. The House Oversight Committee is asking for the Department of Justice to hand over the files. They also want testimony from several people, including former President Bill Clinton. Rena Roy is tracking the latest update tonight.
A subpoena issued for the Department of Justice, with House Republican James Comer saying he wants the full, complete, and unredacted Jeffrey Epstein files turned over.
This is basically Congress taking the driver's seat and saying that we are going to demand these files. They're asking the administration to respond by August 19th.
Comer, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, sending the subpoena to Attorney General Pam Bondi, writing it's imperative that Congress conduct oversight of the federal government's enforcement of sex trafficking laws generally, and specifically its handling of the investigation and prosecution of Mr. Epstein and his longtime business partner, Ghislaine Maxwell. The Republican-controlled committee is also issuing subpoenas for former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to appear before the committee in the fall, and 8 former top law enforcement officials in the weeks before.
I think that what remains now is the question is, how will the Justice Department respond? They are very typical to really be protective over their investigative holdings. This will be something that we could see result in a really interesting court fight.
Trump speaking out about the files last month.
I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given.
The Trump administration is now considering publicly releasing transcripts from Maxwell's interview with the Justice Department in July, according to multiple sources. Maxwell's meetings with the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche took place for 9 hours over 2 days.
There were a lot of questions, and we went all day, and she answered every one of them. She never just said, I'm not going to answer, never declined. You know, this is the first time the government has asked questions.
Sources tell ABC News that the public release of the transcripts from Maxwell's interview could come as soon as this week. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
One man is being blamed. Melissa Dunn has this scathing report about the tragedy that killed 5 people.
Today, more than 2 years after the deadly implosion of Oceangate's Titan submersible, the U.S. Coast Guard releasing its final report, calling the incident that killed 5 people preventable. In June of 2023, Stockton Rush, the CEO of Oceangate, offered 4 high-paying passengers a chance to visit the wreckage of the Titanic. But less than 2 hours into their journey, they lost contact with its support vessel.
The board feels it was actually predictable that the hull was experiencing damage that was cumulative and eventually would fail.
According to the report, the catastrophic implosion happened 7 seconds after the sub's final message was sent to the surface.
The most surprising point is that the Titan submersible was able to operate in a high-profile manner for several years, without really receiving any regulatory or third-party oversight.
The final findings of the U.S. Coast Guard says a false sense of safety and security was created by Rush through his unproven claims of Titan's carbon fiber and titanium technology. The Coast Guard finding he misled mission specialists, exaggerated numbers of hull test drivers, and made false claims on safety margins.
That negligence to monitor the maintenance, keep the vessel, out of the elements during the winter ahead of the 2023 operations. Those types of actions were highly negligent.
The Coast Guard says had Rush survived, it would have recommended manslaughter charges be brought on against the Oceangate CEO. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, happening now across Northern California, today marks the 42nd annual National Night Out. The purpose of the event is to build a positive relationship between the police and the communities they serve. National Night Out includes block parties, festivals, parades, and other community events. It's also an opportunity for people to better understand law enforcement, connect with neighbors, and help increase awareness about crime prevention. Sacramento police say they spend all year working with churches, organizations, community advocates, and local businesses to try and prevent crime.
We're able to work with our community, get a better understanding of what is going on as Sacramento continues to grow. We're able to reach out to a lot of different community members throughout the city and get that better understanding of, how we can provide the best service possible and what our community really needs and wants from us to do that.
National Night started back in 1984. More than 38 million people have already registered to attend an event this year, and there are at least 44 events happening in Sacramento alone. So let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. I know folks may have plans to head out tonight, so how's the weather looking for it? Huh?
It's actually, we're holding on for one more day of those beautiful conditions, and it looks like from at least those pictures there, these are well-attended events out there at National Night Out. Should be a beautiful night out for all of those activities. Low pressure system is kind of guiding in the last of this onshore flow. That's going to move off to the east, and behind it, we are watching the building high pressure ridge, which will result in lighter winds and more heat in the forecast. But at least for tonight, we still have a hint of that nice breeze coming in. Our highs for today holding on to the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees. So again, as predicted, it was a near repeat of yesterday and a great start to August. 70s up top for this year, 60s along the coast. Our nice Tuesday conditions continue. Our sunset not until 8:12. Temperatures for Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, and Marysville in the 80s right now. 76 for Tahoe. These temperatures a little bit below average. Today's our last day with an average high of 93 degrees for the River Cats forecast. Back in action with their series against Sugarland Cowboys. First pitch at 6:45 will start the game off at 87 degrees, and then cool conditions into the 70s, but a lighter breeze means a warmer start tomorrow. Again, we've had a pretty pleasant start to our August. Today we're going to mark likely temperatures below average once again. Mostly we've been right about average to slightly below it, and now we're likely to put a whole lot of red up there on the board as we head into the rest of this week. This gets going for the middle of the work week, extends into our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday forecast with moderate heat risk. The one caveat I would put out there is that we just haven't really seen a whole lot of heat this summer. So even though this is kind of the threshold marked by the National Weather Service, some of us might be feeling the impacts a little bit more than usual simply because we've had these cooler conditions. Something to keep in mind as you're headed out for the weekend activities. Our average number of days in the 100s is 16. We've only seen 4 this year. Now I say that, but I'm not expecting a whole lot of widespread 100s. It's just that we are going to be seeing warmer conditions come into the forecast starting tomorrow. Sunrise at 6:12. At that point, we'll be in the 60s. Highs will warm into the 90s. We'll spend most of the day in the 80s and 90s. By noontime, we're already in the low 80s, and then during the afternoon, we're in the 90s well into the early evening. Highs for tomorrow in the Sierra, close to 80. We're in the 80s and 90s for the foothills with sunny skies, so no real risk of thunderstorms. Still a pleasant day to be out and about. 70s along the coast. We've got a mix of sun and clouds. 90s as we head inland. Tracy, we're up to 100 for tomorrow, as well as Manteca. Calusa also very close to those triple digits. Patterson, we're up to 100 for tomorrow. Again, it's not widespread 100s, but certainly starting to see more representative of that summer heat we typically see in the valley this time of year. A mix of sun and clouds for the coast, highs in the 70s, 90s in the foothills, and again, 80s for this year. No thunderstorm risk right now for this year. Our extended forecast for the valley, starting to see those temperatures climb tomorrow. We'll see a little dip on Thursday, but overall we'll stay above average into early next week before starting to see those temperatures fall slightly into the next work week. This has been something that we have been expecting to come our way. I mean, everybody's been saying, oh, when are we going to get, the back edge of this summer heat heading our way? And I mean, we get some of it, but it's not anything extreme.
And the nice thing is at night we are getting a little relief as well, it seems.
We're still seeing that. Yeah, you're right. So at least we get a little bit of relief overnight, can open up those windows, kind of let in that free air conditioning.
Mother Nature doing us a favor.
Yes, anything, yeah.
Monica, thank you.
20 years ago, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan switched places in Freaky Friday. Now, this Friday, they're back together in theaters. Marquez Allen back. You're talking about Freakier Friday. Are they switching up again?
Yeah, they're switching, but not with each other. It gets even more complicated. I got to teach you some slang off the top, Walt. Okay. Next time you want to compliment someone in a flirtatious or otherwise way, go, hey, you ate.
You ate.
You ate. Just do that.
Okay.
I'll circle back to that in a minute.
All right.
Hard to believe, yeah. If you do the math, it's been over 20 years, close to 22 years since we were talking about this movie. Let's go back to the time to refresh your memory. Jamie Lee Curtis switches bodies with her daughter, played by Lindsay Lohan. All right, now let's fast forward to the Freakier Friday. They are back. There's more switching taking place, only this time Lindsay Lohan switching place with her own daughter, and then Tess, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, switching places with her soon-to-be step-granddaughter. It's very complicated. You're going to have to see the movie. I caught up with Jamie to talk about it and our beginnings. Take a look.
Well, no, but seriously, you can throw it down a little bit. Well, you've been known to,
Thank you for that.
You've been known to eat, and that means it in a really good way.
Like you ate down.
You ate.
You ate.
Okay, all right. Thank you for
I love
that.
this.
Slang.
I love that you're saying this.
I'm now never going to, I'm going to go home and I'm saying to my husband, who's not going to be dressed like you. Honey, you ate. And he's going to say, yeah, I know I had dinner. Anyway, sorry.
Good to see you again.
And you.
This is not our first dance. I see Jamie Lee more than my own family for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
It's been a blessing.
We're seeing each other almost every year lately.
We were in this hotel 22 years ago talking about this very thing.
I know.
You did it in this hotel?
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, this is the Joan Kidd
hotel.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's awesome.
So for you, I can ask you somewhat unique questions from this side because I also met your mom. We did a dedication ceremony, your sister, you and I, in Stockton.
Yes.
So this has to mean a little bit more to you to be doing a product that unites families in this way.
Well, I mean, that's the point for me, that's the real point of art. Yes, it's very important to me. It was important to me that we shoot it in California. It was important to me that we make it with Lindsay, and we had to wait for Lindsay to be old enough.
Sure.
To be able to be a mom of a teenager, and we just got really lucky. We also got to make this last June. We were just talking about it last June, July, and then the fires happened in January of this year. Burnt the house that we shot the original movie 22 years ago in, that we shot our movie in last summer, and the Altadena pickleball place burnt. Yeah. And so there's also, it feels very beautiful, sad, and a beautiful tribute to the city of Los Angeles. And so it does feel connected.
Very much connected and very poignant too. So see this movie in tribute Altadena because yes, the original house from over 22 years ago and the one they went back to shoot this, as well as the pickleball, which is another big set for this movie, now gone, but immortalized in this way. All right, Lindsay Lohan's coming up a little bit later on the week, and then also Friday at 9:30, an entire take-a-look takeover of Freakier Friday. Vanessa, who you saw as the fortune teller, is my co-host, and I'm really proud of this one because it's special. Jamie Lee Curtis, and I can't say enough about how healthy and great Lindsay Lohan looks. She is back, better, stronger than ever.
Well, I would say in that segment, you sure dined well. You ate.
Hey, man, you ate, Walt.
You ate,
You
too.
ate.
Welcome back in. I'm Kevin John. Well, it's about to go down, people.
They have the #1 recruiting class in the FCS. They're ranked in the top 15 in certain preseason polls. And they have an offense so explosive, your grandma will be excited to watch them play. They're the Sac State football team, and fall camp is officially underway.
We're confident in our work. I mean, I think we work harder than the other team at our level.
From sun up to sundown, these athletes are grinding and putting in the work. Or in other words, being a Sac State football player is not for the faint of heart.
So Coach Marion instills that confidence in us by consistently putting us to work day in and day out. I mean, our practices are hard, but they get us better.
And practice is key when you have 73 new players on the roster. One of them is quarterback Jaden Rashada, who will be the shot caller of the Go-Go offense.
I think we're seeing a lot of growth, development, chemistry, and we're coming together day by day. That's what I'm happy about. We just need to keep going, go 1-0 every day and go, have a 1% mentality, I say it all the time. I'm just grateful, I'm back in California and I'm back with a great group of guys, great coaches, and we're creating a culture here.
The man at the forefront of the innovative offense is new head coach Brennan Marion, and he successfully built a healthy culture at Sac State.
Yeah, if you look at my track record everywhere I've been, that's kind of been my calling card, to bring the team together and get guys to love each other. And really that's about the community we create, that guys feel safe, they feel loved, and they feel like they matter. I always say they went from friends to cousins to brothers. And so that's where we're at right now. We're in that stage of building our team chemistry on the field, but I think we've done a good job of building it off the field.
And what can the fans expect to see this year?
Scoring and lots of picks, defensive touchdowns, that's our goal, flying around, that's really what it is. Turnovers and touchdowns, baby.
Turnovers and touchdowns, the combination for winning football. Now, it's interesting. A lot has been said about this Go-Go offense that Brennan Marion has, created. But it's funny, at practice today, Brennan was like, the defense is what people need to be excited for. They're going to have an intense defense. A lot of people looking forward to that. So, we can anticipate some big games at Hornet Stadium this year.
Thanks for watching this ABC10 Plus recap. We are here 24/7 on the free ABC10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Chris Thomas. We'll see you next time.